I think it's, yeah, it's definitely afternoon now. It's a good afternoon. The sun's shining on its day of the week. And I was all prepared to make a live stream about, I made a really snazzy title. I don't know why it happens with me, I'm sure. But I made a really snazzy title. I don't often do that in advance. And I left it there and I was like, yeah, let me get ready. Let me sit down and we'll make a live stream about that. And the snazzy title was basically encapsulating a spiritual perspective of reality that I gained this morning having a think about spirituality in the world. And I was going to share that. But I sat down at the desk and it's like, what I need from the live stream is not to pressure myself. And if I made the live stream about the snazzy title, it'd be a case of, oh, what was it I was thinking? And then I'm not in the place to do that at the moment. My memory's really bad. It's always been bad. But I'm trying to deal with a deaf ear at the same time, and it's like too distracting. But the intent behind that video, and you might be able to tell from my tone of voice on this video, is to get away from, my life, get away from reality. But it's not to get away from reality, it's to become real on a different level. In terms of being real, I've been real, and I've maxed out realness, and I've come to the end of the road, and I've said to myself, can I go any further with realness? It seems like this real wall stops here, and it's time to go beyond it somehow. And in terms of me as a person, in terms of me as an ego, it's not going to look real to what I understand and define as real. I'm sure we all define it slightly differently. But for me, it's there's no more room for me to maintain the same level of trying to combine all the different elements of what it means to be a human, like energy body, your physical body, your mental body, your ability to love, your emotional body. Emotions are the fundamental that tie it together in my head, but I've been slowly having to let go of different aspects of those bodies over the years due to my mental health. It's just given me no choice, and it said, what do you do now? It's like I've taken this bit of reality away from. There's been a lot of tears, a lot of screams, a lot of some blood, and I've just got to the point where I've done my best to hold on and hold on. And in all honesty, it's a case of pain is the only body that's left. Pain is the reality, because pain has governed my decision to just say, sod it, I let all of you go. I become a I prostitute myself to existence and suffering, and I get on in whatever way I can. And ultimately, the way I've seen is the best way forward. So I'm making my dinner at the same time here. The best way I've seen to go forward with that is to just to apply, keep it really simple, forget what I should and shouldn't do. So in other words, given the present moment, given my recent past, given how I feel about this, that and the other, is to ignore all of that. And instead keep it even more simplistic and behave in a way, I've begun the conditioning process now. But the intention is to behave, appear, present in a way that I know. And by me knowing what I mean by that is a case of I've tried to be a good person. I've tried to be a spiritual person. I've tried to be myself. I've tried to be human. And I've just done what I like in this life, like we all do as children. And along the way, if I take all the goodness from all of that mixture, there's a clear idea of the best way to be as a person. I'm model to view as an embodiment of that striving for perfection almost. And that's where I'm at now. All the pain, all the torment is still there inside. It's just not practical to dwell on it in the same way. So there's a whole big restructuring of my mind and life at the moment. But I'm getting on with it. I was hoping to start making more spiritually focused live streams because that uplifts my spirit. And I'm sure that's a lot nicer to watch, easier to digest than some of the hard-hitting realness the videos have taken otherwise. So that was the intention, but in the moment I don't have the energy. It was just too much of an expenditure, and I'm really having to monitor myself at all moments and just try and be as aware as possible to get myself back and functioning once again. But what I'll do, so it wasn't a total waste, I'll share with you some of the little bits of ideas that I had within, how would I describe it, that meditating on spirituality and the world. Now, and it feels better to do it in this way, because what I do ordinarily is what I'm about to share with you is the crux of the information. And I normally fill in the gaps and I make it a nice picture, like a nice little story. And that's what I was going to do. But on this occasion, what I'll do, I'll share with you the facts. And in the back of my mind, my mind is saying, do you know what, Andreas? That's what you should be doing all the time. You should just be giving the facts. That's what life has tried to tell you. So who knows? We'll see if we continue in this vein, or we mix it up with some stories sometimes. I don't know. I can't remember how I got onto the thinking process, how it all started, the thought process this morning. But I was thinking about the Red Tribe. So the Red Tribe are based in the Americas, North, South and the middle. And it occurred to me, was the end of their calendar. Now, everybody lost their minds and thought, oh, it's the end of time, it's the end of time, what's going on? You know, explain. That's what the spiritual community was getting into in 2012. That's what I was thinking in 2012. Is it the end of time? Is something magical going to happen? What's going to happen? But the more I've understood it, there's something serious that's been at play now with humanity for many, probably millennia. The carbon dating the scientists do is inaccurate to my understanding of spiritual dates, and or there's a big cover-up. Oh, the avocado looks well nice like that, and it's got a little halo above it. Archangel avocado. So my thinking since has become a case of the Mayans were the first in the Red Tribe that I'm aware of. And the Mayans were the timekeepers. They're the ones that created the calendar. And it's my understanding, or my thinking to this moment, that calendar wasn't so much how can I put it, an evolution of consciousness. It was more a case of I see it like a prisoner, and they're on the walls, they're doing like the Roman numerals, and they're counting how many more effing days am I going to be in this place. And that's how I see the Mayans. The Mayans were I see them like having like an engineer's mind, a really absolutely practical mind. They're able, their past, again, to my understanding, is that they go of the way of endurance in terms of being a warrior to life. We all have to go down that path of being a warrior. And there's many ways to do it. It's unfortunate if we're still doing it in the direct way of what it means as a warrior, in the most simple sense. But the Red Tribe went through the way of endurance, and they endured life, and that's why I understand them as being called the Rock Nation. I could be wrong, it could be another tribe that's called the Rock Nation, but I think it's the Red Tribe. And they're called the Rock Nation. And through that endurance, their energy resembles like a rock. If energy could ever resemble a rock, the Red Tribe's energy looks like that. So whatever the problem was that made them feel that they're imprisoned in some way. They just went about it the way they always go about it. And that was to say, yeah, well, whatever it happens, happens. We'll just take it on our skin. We're hard as F. And we just see it out to the absolute maximum. And then we can chill. We can have a Corona. We can have a beer. I went to a Mayan workshop in I can't remember, it must have been 2008, 2009, when a Mayan teacher from Guatemala, not Mexico, but Guatemala, always resonated more with the Guatemalan Mayans for some reason. But this gentleman's job was to travel the world and impart the knowledge and wisdom of the Mayans. And in that workshop he said, no, I don't know what everyone's talking about 2012. It's more like 2020, 2021. And my thinking is, because of the way the and that application of the Mayan mind to life that I said, so they said, look, we're in prison. We've got this thing to deal with. How long are we going to have to deal with it? Oh, just that many thousand of years. Anyway, it got to the end of it and they realised, oh, we can push ourselves another 10 years. That was my realisation this morning. So they pushed themselves another 10 years. And my thinking is, my uncle said that the Red Tribe embody love as their energy. That's their ethos, that's their mentality, that's their application to life in its simplest form. And their job was to endure through love for thousands, if not millions, of years. And the way they did that was not to fight, was not to kill. You want to come and invade the land? Hey, come in, invade. And they did that time after time after time. God knows where these new invaders came from, because they all were red. They were all of the Red Tribe. We had the Incas, we had the Aztecs, God knows how many others we had. My thinking is that sorry, I've made a potion for my ear here to unblock it. That the coronavirus, ironically named after a Mexican beer, is just the Mayan tribe saying, look, we've done our work, over to you guys. And I don't know how other people are experiencing it, but it would almost be like, well, I don't know. This was the question I was going to ask on the live stream. You experience that mass withdrawal of love on a planetary level, My suspicion is it's created a pandemic. So the question was to ask, what do you do? How do we fill that void that's created a very real virus? Because it's all psychosomatic disease, and you can always overcome it with the power of the mind. So how do we go about healing that void? That was the question. Do we give to the Mayans? Do we give to the Red Tribe? Do we try to say to that aspect of love that we're missing, look, we still love you? Or do we try to fan the flames of their hearts to reinstigate that love within them? How do we go about it? My suspicion is that the Mayans, because of their wisdom, because of their knowledge of life, from our perspective, that love looks conditional. Because it stops on a point. It stops with precision. How can love stop with precision? But that's in them. That's their wisdom. That buys them the ability to do that. Whereas for the rest of us, it's hard to see. It's near impossible to live our lives in that way. And if love is the answer, and that looks like conditional love from our perspective, don't we need to find unconditional love within ourselves? And that's my suspicion of, whenever I look at spirituality and the world, I guess I'm always at the centre of it, because I'm looking. And for me, I've got a mental health disorder. I'm insane to the world anyway. Maybe that was their job, to carry love for all of humanity for thousands of years, through the darkness, through the hard times. And then when they stop, for us to find unconditional love within ourselves. And well, that looks mad. That looks like, well, I don't know what it looks like, but for me, it's almost like what my job is, to a certain extent. It's to look at the work that they've put in, the love they've given us, but unconditional love really they've given us. And to push it further. We don't have that same connection to that endurance of love they do. So there's no limits for us. And it's scary, but it might be the only way to, well, in the first instance, heal this current pandemic that we have on a global scale that we're saying is the problem. But chances are it's just the tip of the iceberg. And we need to raise ourselves to that awareness of love, unconditional love within ourselves, to stop a far worse reality taking place. So those are all of the ideas that were going around in my head, and I was going to make a story out of that, but it half feels better that I've shared it in this way. And I leave you with a lot of questions about love, about healing, about our past, and about our future. Happy Sunday.